Hey everybody, Chris here. So is XRP a fraud? We're going to talk about that in this video. Please be sure to subscribe to my channel, hit that little notification bell too. You can be notified when my new videos come out, as well as when I do live streams. And it is because of those live streams I'm doing this video, I get asked a lot. Is XRP worth buying into? What do you think about XRP? All those questions. So I'm making this video. Now, I'm not doing a deep dive into XRP. What I'm saying is there's a lot of questions about XRP, and I'm going to get into some of them here. But overall, again, it's going to be up to you to decide. You're the one who's asking to buy into this thing, so I just invite you to do your research. Do I own any XRP? In fact, I kind of do. Yes, I do own some XRP. It was a couple of years ago during live streams, was making a portfolio and was asking people in the live stream, down at the bottom of the bear market in the summer of 2023, bear market for altcoins, was asking, let's invest in some other coins besides Bitcoin and Dogecoin. And somebody said XRP, and I was like, do I really want to buy XRP? I don't think so. And they were like, yeah, Chris, come on. So I bought some at about 58 cents. And now it's up over 400%. So I'm not saying you can't make money on XRP, but there's other things going on, especially now, makes you think, do I really want to be putting my money into this thing or not? So let's get into it. Let me show you the charts on the news. I'll show you what I'm looking at. And we start here looking at the current XRP chart, and we're just under $3. This yellow line is the $3 line for XRP. This is the all-time high, the new all-time high of $3.66, right about there, that XRP hit in July. So this is the current trading of XRP, kind of going sideways since July, up and down. And we're going to see where XRP could trade. I'm going to show that a little later in the video, where I think XRP's real target price is. I try to keep things real here, guys. But for this one, again, going to try and just post some questions, though. Post some questions. First, XRP. I think originally XRP, Ripple, when they made it, kind of had this idea like Bitcoin was going to be this currency. XRP could actually do cross-border payments, with a ledger. Like all of that idea was probably a good idea. But maybe the way they've executed and the way they've continued to work on it since then, to me, kind of goes against what cryptocurrency is about. We've got Brad Garlinghouse here just this past week on CNBC talking about Ripple making partnerships with banks and applying for its own banking license. Now, I thought the whole idea of cryptocurrency was to get away from the banks, right? And what the banks are doing, get away from the fiat system. And here, they're actually partnering with banks, and they're actually helping countries use their ledger for CBDCs, central bank digital currencies. So all of these things that we kind of believe cryptocurrency should be, decentralized finance and self-custody and all of that, these guys are going a different direction now because there's money to be made. That's my opinion, just my opinion. And there's probably more detail to that than what I'm saying, but just be careful. We're not anti-regulation. We want in the right way. And it's like, okay, that's the way you're going to go with your company. Fine. Maybe this is like the new thing about crypto, right? It's like, it's all going to be regulated and it's all going to be, and all of this stuff that was what the cyberpunks and the creation of Bitcoin, and that's all in the past now. And now we're heading into this more legitimized finance. Okay, maybe that's what it is. But again, I still think self-custody is involved. And then you got guys like BitBoy right here. He's back. But, one of the things is like, is XRP the next Bitcoin? And it's just like, really? So he was a self-proclaimed head of the XRP army, and of course he's just doing it for views and clicks and all that. We get that, and I get the same, right? People talk to me about, you're just making all these Dogecoin videos to get clicks, and I'm like, well, that comes with the territory of making YouTube videos, right? But at the same time, I'm trying to keep it real, and I'm not doing these totally unrealistic things. And I mean, Daryl does the same thing, right? With crypto daily trade signals in his XRP and Dogecoin and these unrealistic price projections. But these kinds of things, just not realistic. And then last year we had this whole Elon Musk thing going on with Elon Musk offers Ripple Labs $25 billion to buy all of their XRP holdings, right? And X Payments will integrate XRP. Like, you just got to be careful about all this stuff because that's not, it's not real. And then it's like, there's a false rumor going around that I'm about to put $104 billion into XRP. Not true. It's $105 billion. And there was this, well, was this a real tweet or not? He posted it and then he deleted it. It's just, none of this is, not, you just have to dig in a little deeper, right, on what's true and what's not true. And now this week, right, breaking, newly US-owned TikTok to start implementing XRP payments within their application. XRP is destined to explode if this happens. No. No. Right? These are these XRP guys, just rumor, right, breaking, we're making stuff up. The same thing happens with Dogecoin, right? There's no doubt, right? We get a bunch of these guys making stuff up about Dogecoin, and I admit that. But people ask me about XRP, and I'm just like, they hear this stuff, and it's just like, no. I can see XRP between $23 and $30 in the next 3 months. $23 and $30, so 10x. A 10x from here. Probably not going to happen. Now we get the same thing with Doge, right? Unrealistic Dogecoin price predictions, right? From everything from $5 to $20 to whatever. And it's just like, nope, not true. And I say the same thing about Doge. Not true. Not happening anytime soon. But we get these others like $500, right? Hit that like button if you're ready to watch XRP blast past $500. It's just like, yeah. And then there's this whole 589 thing. And if you want to dive into the 589 XRP code and did the Simpsons make this prediction? And now, like more recently, I've seen like with this whole 589, it's not really $589. It's $5 by a certain date and then $8 by the next and $9 the next. It's like they're trying to spin this thing any which way. But you could dive into that if you want and figure out what this whole 589 thing is about and how Brad Garlinghouse and how it's all 589 related. But again, something to go in. I talk a lot about the distribution of XRP, how many XRP tokens are actually trading right now with its max supply of 100 billion, and there's hardly any burned, right? 10 million XRP compared to 100 billion, that's nothing, right? But we've got this whole escrow thing, right? Well, this is all that's circulating, right? 59 billion now, so it's a little over half. A little over half of the number of tokens are out there. But there's all this under escrow. The under escrow part is, I'll talk about in just a minute, but it's like, is it really under escrow? And they say, well, and how does this escrow get unlocked and how can it be used or not used and all of that? Ripple is not free to sell them off. Really? Well, they distribute them somehow and then they end up getting sold. So somehow that is still happening. So again, Ripple releases 1 billion XRP from escrow, right? This just happened in August. That was $3 billion worth. They just inflated their market cap by $3 billion. The release involved 3 transactions, 500 million XRP to an unknown wallet, 100 million XRP to Ripple, 400 million XRP to the company, right, as part of a 2017 protocol designed to stabilize market supply. What does that mean? Stabilize market supply. And then you get the XRP people coming in here saying, well, it's the same with Bitcoin miners, right? They want you to buy Bitcoin while they dump it to pay their bills. And it's just like, no. It's like another one. Bitcoin miners want you to buy Bitcoin while they sell it. So these XRP guys are really good at coming in and hitting these arguments with their talking points. And of course, a proof of work cryptocurrency like Bitcoin and Dogecoin and how those miners operate to verify all the transactions on the blockchain, right? Keep everything secure and safe, like all of that. They don't talk about that with XRP because XRP doesn't need that because the entire supply of XRP was pre-mined to Ripple, right? And now they control the whole amount. Again, just saying, do your due diligence. Here, we've got Ripple co-founder Chris Larsen dumped $200 million worth of XRP in the past 10 days. This was just in July. So they're selling, right? They're selling. Price goes up and they sell. So I'm just saying, just do your own research. Do your own research. And here, look, we've got some who are really against it, and I get that. But again, these is just things for you to look at. Like 80% of the supply is controlled by Ripple, right? You guys own the other percentage. Me, just a little bit. Insiders dump billions, fake partnerships, paid shills, zero adoption. Well, there's a little bit. And Brad obviously is trying to work on more adoption, but it's like, what is all this stuff, right? At launch, 100 billion XRP was created, right? And 80% of that supply, 80 billion tokens, went directly to Ripple Labs, right? Not to the community, not the market. One company controlling nearly everything. The other went to exchanges, right, to begin the trading. Ripple still controls the faucet. Locked in escrow, that 38 billion, but is it really? Is it really? What they can unlock, relock, and control, that's not decentralized. That's not decentralized. And there's no schedule anywhere, right? You can't see, like, upcoming, like, when future tokens are going to be unlocked. None of that exists. So that supply control is not decentralization. Bank adoption. In 2018, Ripple claimed 50 banks are testing XRP. Nope, didn't happen. 2020, promises of big names coming soon. Nope, didn't happen. 2025, still zero top-tier banks settle USD using XRP. Zero. Now, there are some partnerships that they have using Ripple's technology, right, for cross-border stuff. Western Union, for instance. All fiat-based stuff. The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, right? Again, not the XRP token, not the cryptocurrency. Just putting these out there, make your own decision. Ripple made headlines with its MoneyGram deal, hailed as proof of real-world adoption, but then came an SEC lawsuit, the partnership died. So, again, be careful with this stuff. And then there is the big SEC lawsuit filed in 2020. There's a split decision, a lot of uncertainties, still trying to figure out what's going on with it. We had back in 2024, there was, the lawsuit is settled and XRP's price, went rocketing up and then it fell back when it was still, is it settled? Is it not settled? Is it the injunctions, the fines, like all of that stuff, still uncertainty around that. The SEC alleges Ripple raised $1.3 billion selling XRP as an unregistered security. Figure is still on the record, still unresolved. Even Ripple's own founders have left the project. Some of the original founders, Jed MacLeod, sold all his XRP, walked away with about $3 billion. Meanwhile, he was telling everybody to hodl. Chris Larsen, again, we just sold a bunch of XRP tokens, right? So that's still going on. What's going on with the trading volume? Well, a lot of it seems to be fake with bots and all of that, wash trading. It looks like things are active, but maybe not. There's a lot of complaints about Solana that kind of doing the same thing, kind of making things look like they're more active than they actually are. And what's happening with the ledger, all of that, maybe $90 million now total value And some of that is very questionable, while Ethereum still has over 60 billion, so it's not even close. The DEX volume is low. It's barely, I mean, just again, these things are like, be careful, right? Be careful. Just do your research. There's not a lot of activity. There's no lending, no staking, no swaps, no nothing happening. All-time high, well, again, this was back in July. XRP hadn't quite hit all-time high. It has now, but still the lawsuits and the selling just kind of keep suppressing the price and keep XRP from going even higher. Back in January, XRP had 557,000 daily active wallets, and today it's down to about 34,000. What's going on? Right. This staggering 94% drop in wallets is kind of interesting. So again, the cult still believes every cycle XRP to $589. Again, not all of this is unlike a lot of other cryptos, and I admit that. But again, I just say, do your research on this stuff and see what you think. Overall, XRP, it's the third largest cryptocurrency. There's no doubt. It's $178 billion market cap now, with this 59.7 billion in its circulating supply out of the 100 billion. So we click on that and we say, okay, let's look at that a little closer. And we say, here's its overall trading, huge, giant run in 2017, right at the end there. And then it came crashing all the way back down. So was that manufactured? Was it all hype, FOMO, all of that? Again, back in end of 2017. Well, 2021 didn't even get close to 2017. And here we are now with the price just hitting a new all-time high and then falling back. But we look at the market cap and we can see, well, the market cap is much higher because of the increase in the amount of tokens that are in supply since 2017, which is a much higher inflation rate than Dogecoin. And people all complain, oh, Dogecoin, unlimited supply. Like, well, if you actually look at Dogecoin tokens, the last two cycles versus XRP, there's a lot more XRP being unlocked than Dogecoin is being given to miners for validating the transaction on the blockchain. So you have that going on. And then, I mean, that's true with Solana too. I just put this out there just as fact, right? So here's Solana and its all-time high price, right? It just hit a new all-time high in price compared to 2021. But you could look at market cap, and the market cap is over twice as much because there's so many more Solana tokens out there because they keep printing new Solana tokens all the time. So I just put this out there for those wondering. Now, here's my price prediction. Can you make money on XRP? Yes. More people are going to come in and buy it. The price is going to go up, right? And so we look at my price prediction. And I covered this a couple weeks ago during my 2-year outlook in crypto. Did my fib lines from the last cycle. I discounted 2017 and all the craziness. Just said from the last cycle, high to low, right? Cycle high to cycle low. And we look at the fib line at the 2.618, and we're about $4.62. Hey, from $3 now to $4.62, that's not bad. That's not bad. I think that is a realistic expectation for XRP's price. Now, some will say, oh, it's definitely going to $10, $100. Again, do your own research. Just look at the stuff. That's all I ask. Leave a comment below. Let me know what you think about XRP. Give the video a like, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. I appreciate the support. We'll see you next time.